course, our number one team, ladies and gentlemen, is the Lions at 12-5. This is going to be an up and down year for them. I think they're going to win a lot of close games this year when I look at their schedule. And let's take this one a little different. Let's go backwards to front here before we start getting into the stats. Let's go to their draft. Now, a lot of people think that, we had their draft class as a B as well. I like Tyleik Williams. I talked about Tyleik Williams ad nauseum. I thought he was one of the best defensive tackles in this draft. Then they get Tate Ratledge, who a lot of people consider to be a top offensive lineman in the draft as well, from Georgia in the second round. And now here's where people started scratching their heads, but here's where we started smiling all at the same time. If you don't know, now you know. Isaac Tesla is awesome. You added him to that offensive unit. Him and Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to feed families this year for Jared Goff. And you're going to see a passing of the guard here slowly to Hendon Hooker as Jared Goff is going to hit his first year of regression, in my opinion. I hate to say that. I just feel that way. I feel like it's coming. And it seemed like it's kind of funny. We were talking about the Matt Ryan comparisons.
Yes.
And now people are starting to see that.
Yes.
And it's like, well, this is the Matt Ryan that got to the pinnacle of where he could get. And now you're going to start seeing it go like this. And Hendon Hooker, I got a bold prediction. I think Hendon Hooker may be stepping in as a starter in the later part of this season.
Okay.
And you're going to start seeing the future of the Lions, which is even more scary. Miles Frazier comes over from LSU. The defensive end, the freak himself, Ahmed Husseinin from Boise State, the edge rusher. We were talking about this guy during the draft process. We interviewed him. We interviewed Isaac Tesla as well. But Dan Jackson, one of our favorite safeties in this class, man. My goodness. Then they go and go get Donovan Lovett, the wide receiver from Georgia, which good luck. Not a believer in that wide receiver core from Georgia last year. But, of course, the departures that hurt the most, Aaron Glenn going off to the Jets to become their head coach. And, of course, we talked about Ben Johnson leaving this team as well.
Yeah.
There's one constant there, still Dan Campbell, and I believe he will find the next two great coordinators that are going to step up to the plate for this team, because he seems to be a team elevator, not a personal accomplishment elevator, right? I think that's where he is. Defensive improvements, man. Of course, they improved that defensive line. Of course, missing Aiden Hutchinson last year, who there's rare misses that happen on this channel. One of the misses me and Don had were Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
But of course, we're so happy to see him succeed, and we're able to sharpen the sword on our evaluations when it comes to guys like him. We're happy he's having a good career and proving us wrong. So they'll get him back. So hopefully he's completely healthy. And they might have the two best safeties in the league, the best safety tandem outside of, what maybe the Ravens might have this year with Malachi Starks and Kyle Hamilton. But it's hard to say that Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph are not the best safety tandem in the league. They're absolute menaces, and they're going to continue to be that way. I told you I think Brian Branch is going to be looked at as a top 1 or 2 safety at the end of this year coming up. Head over to the offense real quick. League leaders in passing yards and touchdowns. They were amongst the leaders with Jared Goff after a strong season. He's been doing that time and time again with the Lions. Again, I think he's going to regress because what? We don't base anything off of last year. We base everything about progressions and what's around them and how good teams got around them as well. Jahmyr Gibbs. What? Remember when we had them as an S grade and people tore us a new one?
Yep.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs is telling everybody that he's here to stay. And their offensive line improved as well, ranking 3rd in run blocking and 10th in sacks allowed. Now, that was one guy that retired early this offseason, and it's Frank Ragnow. He will not be with the team this year.
Right.
Rest in peace to his career. It kind of sucks when we got that news, but what's great is that he retired early enough for them to find their next guy that's going to be able to step up instead of waiting late in the process,
Right.
and not giving the next young guy a chance to step in. But he's going to be alongside a guy like 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗀𝗀 as well, whoever that new guy is going to be on their roster. 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗀 is top 5
Yep.
by all regards.
Absolutely.
So what say you, Don, about the Detroit Lions?
I'm kind of in the same wavelength in some respects. I mean, this was a team that was tied for second overall in offense and fifth in defense, seventh in special teams. What you might call a well-oiled team last year. Ran into the Commanders in that playoff game, and it's a shame. They were really looking solid. But what you need to keep in mind, not only as a cause for Jared Goff to have a slight decline because of age, but you are going through what the Eagles went through a couple years ago. Both coordinators are being replaced.
And we looked at that move.
Yes.
With like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It turns out
that has more of an impact than you know. Even if you get the right guys, there's going to be an impact. It's not going to be, like I said before, first year magic. It doesn't happen. But their defense, I think, is going to carry more games than their offense this year. As good of an offense they have running, as great receivers, tight ends, everything they have, I love the makeup. I think the defense is going to be their signature this year more than their offense.
Having Aiden Hutchinson on the field for a lot of those guys is going to be such a morale booster to get them where they want to go. And I think what you're going to see, I'm not going to say that they're not going to have, they might have a deep playoff push that nobody's expecting. They could, I think, to be honest, this is the year that the Lions get into the Super Bowl out of any year. And I don't think it's on the heels of Jared Goff. I literally think it's going to be on the heels of their defense this year. Yeah. And we're going to be looking at that 2000s Ravens team with the likes of a Lions team right next to them. I think the Lions defense is probably going to be number 1 in the league this year. Terry Arnold is about to take a upward trajectory upgrade that nobody's going to see coming. And you sort of saw it in moments last year, like playing next to his old teammate in Brian Branch, getting his confidence back. Ennis Rakestraw not being, he knows that he was better than him. Ennis Rakestraw was not as good as what everybody thought. I tried to tell everybody. This is a hype monster.
Yep.
But Terry Arnold, you start to see in moments of like how good this kid is going to be. Yeah, their defense is definitely could win them a championship, but I mean, you still got teams like the Eagles here. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of hard not to have them as your Super Bowl. We'll get into our Super Bowl favorites, but, you know, it's kind of hard not to mention Eagles when you talk about amongst the top 3 teams in the league when they just got better on paper. So, Eagles 12-5, winning the division, having 3 teams that are under 500.
Lions.
Or Lions, yeah.
Yep.
And it's not the fact that any of these teams are going to be bad. It's just you have a team that doesn't have an identity. You have a team that's getting into identity, and you have another team that's trying to find their identity by trial through fire with a new quarterback.
Yep.
It's all almost the same situation, and the Lions are the constant with trying to find their identity with 2 new coordinators.
Yep.
Such parity in the NFC North. I think this is going to be the most interesting division to watch in football.
It is.
For sure.